I see you standing in the shadow of your own existence, wondering why the air turns cold when you enter a room. You tell yourself it is their jealousy, their smallness, or perhaps a simple misunderstanding of your higher vibration. I am here to tell you that you are lying to yourself. You are not being hated for your light, you are being despised for the vacuum you create, the way you use your goodness as a shield to avoid the terrifying risk of actually being real. The truth is much more violent than a simple social friction. You are caught in the trauma of your own psychological birth, or rather, your refusal to be born. You have spent your life constructing a personality designed to be accepted, a curated self that functions as a plea for permission to exist. When people look at you, they don't see a human being, they see a mirror of their own suppressed falseness, and they hate you because you remind them of the lie they are also living. This is not an external problem of social etiquette. This is the internal conflict of the will. You have suppressed your individual will to such an extent that you have become a phantom, a person who lives for approval while secretly resenting everyone who gives it to you. You are being hated because you are an enigma of self-sabotage, a person who is physically present but psychologically absent, refusing to take the burden of your own reality. 1. The arrogance of your silence. I have observed that those who claim to be empaths or quiet observers are often the most aggressive people in the room. Your silence is not peace, it is a judgment. When you refuse to engage, when you withdraw under the guise of being different or misunderstood, you are actually exerting a form of passive control over others. You force them to fill the void you leave behind. You make them responsible for the energy of the room while you sit on your throne of perceived moral superiority. This withdrawal is what I call the fear of life in its purest form. By not speaking, by not reacting, you think you are winning a Machiavellian game of power. But the people around you sense the coldness of this strategy. They feel the weight of your unexpressed will. You aren't being stoic, you are being a void. And humans, by nature, abhor a vacuum. They hate you because your silence feels like a trap, a way to observe them without ever being observed yourself. You use your sensitivity as a weapon to avoid the friction of existence. You think that by being good and quiet, you should be loved. But love requires a target, and you have made yourself a ghost. There is nothing to love because there is no you there to meet. People hate the ghost because it reminds them of their own mortality, their own fear of disappearing into the expectations of society. You are a walking memento mori of the authentic self. I want you to understand that your disconnection is a choice. You are choosing to stay in the womb of your own mind because the world outside requires you to be defined, and definition is scary. To be defined is to be limited, and to be limited is to be vulnerable. You would rather be hated as a mysterious figure than be seen as a flawed, struggling individual. This is the ultimate ego trip, and it is why the world is reacting to you with such visceral disdain. Stop pretending your isolation is a sign of evolution. It is a sign of stagnation. You are stuck in the trauma of birth, refusing to separate from the safety of your own internal narrative. Until you decide to step out and clash with reality, to be wrong, to be loud, to be hated for who you are rather than who you aren't, you will continue to feel this cold wall of resentment from everyone you encounter. 2. The stench of the pleaser's resentment. I see the way you smile when you want to scream. You think you are being kind, but you are actually being dishonest, and people can smell that dishonesty like a physical rot. When you agree with things you hate, when you help people you don't even like, you are accumulating a debt of resentment that leaks out of your pores. You think you are hiding it, but it manifests in your tone, your posture, and the subtle ways you sabotage the very people you claim to serve. This is the failure of the individual will to assert itself. You have traded your soul for a sense of safety, but the safety is an illusion. By living for approval, you have made yourself a slave to the opinions of others. And the irony is that people do not respect slaves. They might use them, they might tolerate them, but they secretly loathe them because a person without a will is a person who cannot be trusted. If you cannot say no, your yes is completely worthless. You believe you are a good person because you avoid conflict. I tell you that you avoid conflict because you are terrified of the consequences of your own existence. You are afraid that if you showed your true face, your anger, your desires, your selfishness, you would be cast out. So you wear the mask of the Thempata, the helper, the one who understands everyone. But who understands you? No one, because you have made sure there is nothing to understand. This secret hatred people feel for you is actually a reaction to your lack of boundaries. When you have no boundaries, you invite people to mistreat you, and then you feel superior when they do. This is a sick cycle of psychological masochism. You use their disrespect to validate your narrative that the world is a cruel place and you are its only saint. But you are the one who opened the door. You are the one who handed them the whip. I want you to realize that your kindness is a form of manipulation. You are trying to buy love with compliance. But love cannot be bought, it can only be given to an equal. By making yourself less than to avoid conflict, you have forfeited your status as an equal. You are being hated because you are a reminder of how easily a human being can be crushed into a shape that pleases others. You are a warning sign, and people want to look away. 3. The threat of the awakened ego. You tell yourself you have awakened, that you are on a higher vibration than the masses. This is the most dangerous illusion of all. I see this often in those who study psychology or spirituality. They use the language of growth to hide the fact that they are more stuck than ever. Your awakening is often just a new, more sophisticated cage for your ego. You haven't lost your ego, you've just given it a promotion. When you look at people through the lens of low vibration or unconscious, you are committing an act of psychological violence. You are stripping them of their humanity to protect your own fragile sense of specialness. People hate you because they feel your condescension. They feel you analyzing them from a distance, as if you are a scientist and they are insects. You aren't connecting, you are categorizing. True psychological birth, true separation, does not feel like superiority. It feels like isolation. It feels like the terrifying realization that you are responsible for every breath you take and every choice you make. If you feel better than others, you haven't separated, you've just moved to a different part of the collective. You are still defined by them, only now you define yourself as the one who is better. This specialness is a defense mechanism against the fear of being ordinary. You are so afraid of being just another person, that you have created a spiritual fantasy where you are a protagonist and everyone else is an extra. But people can feel when they are being treated as background noise in someone else's movie. They hate you because you refuse to see them as they are, you only see them as they relate to your journey. I am telling you to drop the labels. Empath, starseed, introvert, old soul, these are all just words you use to avoid saying, I am afraid. You use them to justify your inability to function in the world. If you were truly awakened, you wouldn't need to tell anyone. Your presence would be enough. But because you are still empty inside, you need the labels to fill the space. People hate the labels because they can see the hollow man underneath. For why your healing is actually stagnation. I hear you talking about healing for years, yet your life remains the same. You are addicted to the process of healing because it allows you to avoid the act of living. As long as you are working on yourself, you have an excuse for why you haven't started your business, why you haven't left that toxic relationship, or why you haven't mastered your craft. You are using psychology as a sophisticated form of procrastination. People hate you because they see the loop you are in. They see you complaining about the same traumas, the same parents, and the same exes, while refusing to take the one step that matters, the step into the unknown. Your healing has become your identity. If you were actually healed, who would you be? You are terrified of that question. You would rather be the person who is healing than the person who is responsible. The will is the only thing that can break this cycle. But the will requires action, and action creates consequences. You are afraid of the consequences. You would rather stay in the comfort of your pain than face the terror of your potential. This is the core of self-sabotage. You destroy your own progress because progress means you can no longer play the victim, and the victim role is the only one you know how to play. When people see you stuck in this perpetual state of becoming, they lose respect for you. They see your potential being wasted on self-reflection that leads nowhere. They hate you because your stagnation is a mirror of their own unrealized dreams. You are a living example of how someone can have all the tools and insights and still do absolutely nothing with their life. You are a cautionary tale. I want you to stop understanding your problems and start outgrowing them. Understanding is a booby prize. It doesn't change reality. Only the assertion of your will changes reality. You are being hated because you are an intellectual glutton, consuming insights but never producing actions. Break the cycle. Stop healing and start being. The world doesn't need more aware people, it needs more real people. 5. The fear of genuine connection. You wonder why people withdraw from you, but have you ever considered that you are the one who is unreachable? I see you building walls and calling them boundaries. You are so afraid of being hurt, so afraid of the trauma of separation, that you never truly allow anyone to touch your soul. You keep everyone at an intellectual distance, analyzing the relationship instead of experiencing it. People hate you because you are a safe person, and safety is boring. There is no fire in you, no risk, no threat. A person who cannot be a threat cannot be a friend. If you aren't willing to hurt someone, by telling them the truth, by standing your ground, by being yourself, then you aren't capable of loving them either. Your niceness is a sterile environment where nothing can grow. This is the fear of life manifesting as emotional isolation. You want the rewards of intimacy without the risk of rejection. But the only way to get close to someone is to offer them the power to destroy you, and then trust that they won't. You refuse to give anyone that power. You stay in control. You stay balanced. And in doing so, you remain utterly alone, even when you are in a crowd. People sense this emotional armor. They feel the calculated nature of your interactions. You are always measuring what to say, how to look, and how to react. This calculation is a form of manipulation. You are trying to control their perception of you. And people hate being controlled. They want to see the ugly you, the unfiltered you, the human you. But you are too afraid that the human you isn't enough. I am telling you that the hatred you feel from others is actually an invitation to be real. They are reacting to the wall you've built. If you want to be loved, you must be willing to be seen, and to be seen is to be vulnerable. You must stop trying to be perfectly understood, and start being honestly felt. Throw away the script. Stop being an observer of your life and start being the protagonist of your own struggle. 6. The cost of becoming real. If you follow my lead, if you truly listen to what I am saying, you will realize that the goal is not to stop people from hating you. The goal is to be hated for the right reasons. Right now, you are hated for your falseness, your vacuum, and your fear. I want you to be hated for your strength, your will, and your refusal to compromise your own reality. That is a hate you can wear like a badge of honor. Becoming an individual, achieving psychological birth, means losing the comfort of the collective. It means people will leave you. It means the accepting version of you must die so that the real version of you can exist. This is the fear of separation that keeps you paralyzed. You are afraid that if you become yourself, you will be alone. And I am telling you, you are already alone. You are just pretending you aren't. The difference is that when you are a ghost, your loneliness is a prison. When you are an individual, your loneliness is a kingdom. You can finally choose who enters and who stays. You no longer need everyone to like you because you finally like yourself. And when you like yourself, not the empath mask, but the raw, struggling human being, the opinions of the masses lose their power over you. People secretly hate you because you are refusing to pay the price of being real. You want the benefits of the awakened life without the pain of the birth process. But there is no birth without blood. There is no creation without destruction. You must destroy the person you were forced to be to become the person you were meant to create. Stop looking for 5 signs or hacks to be more likable. Start looking for the courage to be yourself. The moment you stop needing their approval is the moment they will finally respect you, even if they still hate you. But at least they will be hating a real person, not a shadow. And in that friction, in that clash of wills, you will finally find the vibration you've been looking for, the vibration of a life truly lived. I don't care if this makes you uncomfortable. In fact, I hope it does. Comfort is the graveyard of the soul, and you have been sleeping for too long. You are not lost, you are just avoiding the terrifying work of existing as an individual. The world is reacting to your absence, it's time you showed up. Choose to be born, or stay a shadow. The will is yours.